Hello and welcome back to another video with myself, Gingerbexxi. We are back and we are in autumn. If you watched my last vlog video, you will know that I absolutely adore autumn. I love how cozy autumn can be. I love sitting listening to the wind and the rain outside when it's nice and cozy inside and watching something cool or playing Stardew Valley, which is a super cozy game. Do you know what else though? It is the anticipation of coming into October, where it does get much colder and it gets a lot spookier as well. I have always been the biggest coward when it comes down to horror films. When I was younger, I was a goth, grew up in high school, so for myself, you know, you had to watch all the scary films because I was a goth, and you know, that's just how things were. However, I hated scary films. I remember the first time I watched The Ring, couldn't sleep for weeks, and even going into adulthood as well, there was like a lot of films I just refused to watch because they were too scary. They were films from like the 80s and the 90s, like The Fly. I would never watch The Fly because it was so scary. And yeah, so scary films, not my strongest suit, but as I grew older, I started watching the films that I didn't watch when I was younger, and I fucking loved them. What I found out is that I don't like gore for the sake of gore films like Saw. I don't like things like that. It's just, I know there is a story in the background, but it's just, I don't know. I don't like those types of films. However, films like Silent Hill was a game, but the film, fantastic film, loved it very much. Dog Soldiers is a horror film, it's amazing as well, more of an action, but what I like to dub it is shit horror. The horror that's not too scary, but it's still like a horror vibe. That's the type of films that I like. And actually one of my favourite films ever is actually A Quiet Place. I love it so much. I know there's a game coming out as well soon, so mwah. However, I am here today to talk about scary things that are not live action. I am here to talk about horror anime, because trying to find a horror anime... So, this year, I have been on a mission to find Yuri anime to refer to a friend. Now, I have been going through all of the normal Yuri shows that everyone has been recommending, of, you know, Adachi Shimamura, Blooming to You, etc. And I'm kind of looking for the same thing for horror anime, because there isn't a lot, and the ones that are out there I've not really watched a lot of. But coming into the spooky season, I really want to be able to watch a couple of really good spooky shows that have like a really dark, kind of horror-y, even paranormal I would go for as well, and that's the type of shows I'm looking to watch. So I googled it. I googled best horror anime, and do you know what actually came up? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. How, in which world is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure a fucking horror show? It is insane. And so I'm actually just going to Google it right now. So I've just Googled horror anime. One of them that comes up, Black Butler. How is that at all any type of horror? We have Zombieland Saga. The only reason that is any type of horror is because someone dies. I mean, Goblin Slayer, that's a different type of horror. But yeah, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is here as well, and this is just Googling it. Just Googling horror anime. Now, ReZero is also there, which you can kind of understand why it's in. It has that tag anyway, and that's just because there is a lot of death and there's a lot of fights and stuff, but it's not, I wouldn't say, a scary show to watch. There's the Junji Ito collection. I've not watched any of them, and it is one thing that I actually will probably watch a little bit of over the next month. I have Devilman Crybaby to watch as well, which apparently, well, that's also in the horror category, and I've heard it is kind of more horror than not. And Mushishi, that's been like highly recommended to me. So there is a few that I do know of and I do plan to watch, and I will probably come back, it'll probably be my Halloween video, and talk more about the horror shows that I've watched. But I really wanted to talk about a couple of shows that I absolutely adored that are in the kind of horror category. I feel like the closest that I've ever got to watching like a horror show was Bloodsea, which, by the way, amazing, and Angels of Death, which Angels of Death was incredible. I loved Angels of Death. It was so goddamn good. I know it was obviously a light novel, Was it a light novel or a manga? I'm not sure. And it was also a game. I'm sure it was like, was it like the book and then the game and then the anime, or was it the game and the book? I can't remember which way it went. Kind of want to talk a little bit about Angels of Death. I have spoke about it very briefly on the channel before. So Angels of Death it's such a, I don't know, it was a very different show. And I think that's maybe why I loved it so much, was when I watched all the other shows that I'd been watching were your shonen shows. There was romance animes, there was comedies, there were sports, and Angels of Death just, it stood out because I think it was because it was the first kind of like horror type show that I had watched, and I watched it dubbed, and the guy that plays Zack, Dallas Reed, he was fucking amazing in that role. He was so good. There's quite a lot of shows that I know for a fact are definitely better, like in the original Japanese. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for example. Well, I would say JoJo's Bizarre Adventure season 1 and 2, or part 1 and 2, were definitely better Japanese. Anyway, I didn't watch the Japanese version of Angels of Death, but the voice acting for the English I just thought was really, Dallas was fantastic in that role. But yeah, I think it was so different to the other shows that I'd been watching that when I watched it, it was very much like, it was surprising the vibe that it went for. Because it's about serial killers. Like, it's about this house where there's these serial killers on different floors, and the girl, Rachel, wakes up and she is on Zach's floor. And it's just her trying to like make her way out. And she has to go through these like kind of trials and things. Oh, it's so good. I really enjoyed it. The music was so fucking amazing as well. I actually have I found it on Spotify and I listen to it quite regularly because it's the Angels of Death soundtrack turned into being my playing MMOs soundtrack. I would just listen to that in the background and play MMOs. I would just turn the MMO music off and I would just listen to that soundtrack because it was so tense and it was so fun at parts as well, because what's her name? Jamie Markey plays a character in it, and her character is like this like very eccentric, eccentric, is that the right word? She's very vibrant, and the sound, like her soundtrack, it was just perfection. It was so good, and it was so like funky, and then you go from that funky beat to the tension the soundtrack's phenomenal. But Angels of Death, so good. I loved it so goddamn much. It's not scary though. So I watched Blood Sea not long after that. I think it was probably like a couple of years ago during like the autumn season, just trying to find horror things to watch. I watched Blood Sea, and Blood Sea was good. It had a very creepy vibe. It had obviously there was these monsters that were happening. There was a lot of blood in it as well. Oh, it's called Blood Sea. There was a lot of death, and there was the character in the background that Rob McCollum plays, where it's like it's like at the end of every episode, like they chat, and it's like a really, really creepy chat that they have. I love that very much. And obviously in the last like 2-3 episodes or something, that's when like the true, like, it's not even horror, it's not horror, it's not comedy. I did laugh when I first saw like the little like demon things that were there, but like someone gets blinded. I mean, there's a very, very famous like clip from Blood Sea, and it is the thing with the blinder, and he's just blinding up a shit ton of people. That's like, it's not even horror either. Like, there's a lot of like death, and there's a lot of bad death, but it's not scary. And I mean, it might just be that I've not been recommended a scary anime to watch, but none of the shows that I've seen, even like the ones that I've heard about, like looking at this list again, like Devilman Crybaby, I've heard it's good, but I've not heard that it's scary, but it's on like a very high up like horror list. Parasite, I watched Parasite as well, and again it was good, but it wasn't scary like at all. There was nothing that made me jump. There was a couple things like in Blood Sea when I saw the blinder, I was like, oh shit, oh, I don't like that. But I feel like a lot more shows are more creepy than scary, and I feel like, for example, Tokyo Ghoul, which is in the horror category, is only in the horror category because there is knife violence and cannibalism, which, I mean, if you've seen Tokyo Ghoul, it's probably one of the most like, it's a very it's not a standard anime, it's really, really good, but it's not scary at all. It's not something that I would say to someone, like if I'm recommending to someone to watch like A Quiet Place, I'll tell them, by the way, there's a couple of jump scares in there. If I'm recommending someone to watch something like Saw, which I never fucking would, but if I was recommending Saw, I would say to them, by the way, it's fucking gross. So yeah, but like Tokyo Ghoul, I would never say to someone, oh, by the way, that's a wee bit scary, because it's really not. The same with like Angels of Death, it's not scary, it's a good show, but it's not scary, it's creepy. Like, I feel like more anime will have like that creepy vibe, whereas I'm looking for a show, maybe not a show that's like going to make me absolutely petrified, but I want a show that is going to like maybe test my coward levels. And that's something that I really want to do over the month of October. I'm kind of looking for, basically this whole video is me saying please recommend shows to me, please, because I want to watch some spooky films, not spooky films, I want to watch some spooky anime over the October period. I want shows that are like maybe 12 to 15 episodes long, that are scary, that are going to test my fear levels. They're going to maybe even ones that do give me a creepy vibe, because I do actually like those types of shows. I want to expand my horror capabilities in anime. There is obviously ones that I really do want to more read than anything else, because there is a lot of shit in like Berserk that I've heard is not scary, but it's definitely on the more horror side of things. I've not read any Berserk yet and I really want to. I've heard it's real fucked up. That's another thing as well. I feel like there's a lot of shows that are more on the fucked up spectrum rather than actual like scary, and I don't know if it is more to do with the fact that it's anime. I feel like there's a lot of things that Watership Down, actually, there's a fucking show, no it wasn't, it was a movie. Watership Down, if you don't know what it is, was an animated movie, and I can't remember if it came out in the 90s or if it was in the early 2000s, but it was about these rabbits that were rabid, and it was fucking terrifying. Now, at the time, I'm sure it's my mum that didn't make us watch it, but put it on, and I didn't realise that not all animation is for children. So we watched Watership Down, and it scarred me. It still scars me. I still have fucking nightmares about it. That rabbit, oh. Anyway, yeah, I feel like there a lot of animation, and I would say Watership Down was a Western animation rather than a Japanese animation, so I don't know if maybe Japanese animation doesn't do more of the like really scary things, but I am pleading with you guys, if you guys know of like really scary shows, like shows that actually made you like, you know, maybe not sleepless at night, but at least made you feel scared, that made you feel really fucking creeped out. And I'm not talking about the slightly creepy vibes that you get in some shows. I want to sit and go waiting for something to pop up behind me. So I want that type of show, and if you guys can recommend them, that would be absolutely perfect. I will probably watch the Junji Ito collection, or at least some of it anyway. I don't know how much there actually is, and I want to watch Mushishi because I've heard that that's a really, really good like spooky show, so I would really like to watch that. And I do have Devilman Crybaby. Oh, it might actually be Deadman Wonderland. I do have both of them in that. I don't know if they are actually scary, so if you do know that, please let me know. But yeah, so this video was more of me. I went looking for some scary anime, and I was very upset with what I saw on Google. It annoyed me seeing that. The fact that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure comes up, that is far, far from being scary. I don't actually know why it's in the horror genre, to be honest, because I kind of feel like there's not a lot of scary stuff about it, or even creepy about it. It's shonen, basically. Although, it's not shonen. It is, but it's not. I think it's classed as shonen, but it's in a bubble of its own. But it's not horror, for sure. So yeah, when I saw what was coming up in the horror genre, I was very upset. I just want some good old horror to sit down and watch. So I would love to hear recommendations. Go check out my Yuri playlist as well if you haven't already, if that is your thing. But yeah, comment below with your recommendations, and I will be back at the end of October with a video just talking about the shows that I've seen over the last over that month, and I look forward to it. Get the popcorn out. I'll probably sit and cuddle my little pumpkin because I'm a wuss. Anyway, this was just a little quick video just to talk about that. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, remember to like the video below and subscribe for more. I am here every single Friday. There's lots of videos on my channel. I do a lot of anime chats, I do some games as well, and I also do a lot of drawing. There's a bunch of speed drawings there as well. There's a bunch of like drawing learning videos as well, so please go check them out and, you know, subscribe. I also stream every Wednesday and Saturday. My Wednesday streams are my art streams where I do drawings or I learn a little bit about something to do with drawing, and on Saturdays are my gaming streams. I'm also sprinkling in some Friday streams, which generally are either drawings or games depending on how I'm feeling, so come and check them out, and I hope to see you either in my next video or in my next stream. But whatever it is, I'll see you then. Bye!